Sharing might be caring. A true Stoic knows that some things are better left unsaid. In a world obsessed with oversharing. Here's why keeping these 10 secrets will protect your peace and make you untouchable. We live in a culture that glorifies oversharing. From social media to coffee shop conversations. We're constantly encouraged to share. We're always being told to share everything. What if I told you that this isn't just unnecessary? It's harmful. I learned this the hard way, years ago. I thought that being honest and open was the key to building connections. I'd share my deepest fears with friends. My wildest dreams. I'd share my deepest fears with friends. My wildest dreams with colleagues. My political views with anyone who'd listen. The result, my fears were used against me. My dreams were trampled by others' doubts. My opinions sparked unnecessary conflicts that I began to realize that not everyone deserves to know you're in a world. Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner self like a fortress. Sharing too much gives others the power to. People will use your vulnerabilities against you. They will use your emotions to manipulate you. It's time to embrace a more radical approach. Silence. I end this script. I'll walk you through 10 things a true Stoic should never share. No matter how much society pressures you to, these points might ruffle some feathers. If you value your strength and serenity, you'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise. It's essential. Point 1, your deepest fears. That we all have fears, those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep in during moments of weakness. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Your deepest fears are your own to conquer. They're a reflection of your inner battles. Not something to be handed over to others. When you share your fears, you're essentially giving others a weapon against you. Even those with the best intentions can't help but see you differently once they know what makes you tremble. They might start to treat you with pity or worse. Exploit those fears to gain an upper hand in subtle ways. For example, if you reveal a fear of failure, someone might push you. You'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise, it's essential. Your deepest fears. We all have fears. Those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep in during moments of weakness. Here's the truth that no one tells you. Your deepest fears are your own to conquer. They're a reflection of your inner battles. Not something to be handed over to others. When you're not ready to make decisions, you might hesitate to risk it all. They might even undermine your confidence, feeding into that fear until it grows into something even more crippling. Moreover, fear is a private battlefield. It's a part of your psyche that you need to confront and overcome on your own terms. When you externalize it by sharing, you'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise, it's essential. Your deepest fears. We all have fears. Those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep in during moments of weakness. Here's the truth that no one tells you. Your deepest fears are your own to conquer. They're a reflection of your inner battles. Not something to be handed over to others. When you're seeking validation or comfort, it's an understandable but ultimately harmful crutch. This act of seeking reassurance only weakens your inner resolve, making the fear seem larger and more insurmountable than it truly is. Consider this. If Marcus Aurelius had openly shared his fear of death or failure with those around him, would he have been the revered philosopher, emperor we remember today? He was strong because he was able to deal with his fears on his own and use them as a source of strength. You'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise. It's essential. Your deepest fears. We all have fears. Those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep in during moments of weakness. Here's the truth that no one tells you. Your deepest fears are your own to conquer. They're a reflection of your inner battles. Not something to be handed over to others. Mastery. rather than allowing them to define or control you. In a world that often tells you to talk it out or share your burdens, a Stoic takes the opposite approach. Keep your fears close. Like a fire that burns inside you, driving you forward, never escaping your control. Use them as a source of strength, not as a topic of conversation. You'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise. It's essential. 1. Your deepest fears. We all have fears, those dark, unsettling thoughts that come when we're weak. But here's the truth that no one tells you: your deepest fears are your own to overcome. They show your inner struggles, not something to be handed over to others. When you overcome your fears in silence, the world will see only your courage. 2. Your most important goals. Goals are the silent drivers of our actions, guiding us toward what we believe will make us happy. The moment you share your most important goals, you lose control over them. You expose yourself to the whims of others and the unpredictability of the world. That I learned this lesson the hard way a few years ago. I had a burning desire to start my own business. A dream that had been quietly brewing inside me for years. Excited, I began sharing this ambition with friends and colleagues, hoping for encouragement and support. Instead, you'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise, it's essential. Your deepest fears. We all have fears, those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep in during moments of weakness. Here's the truth that no one tells you: your deepest fears are your own to conquer. They're a reflection of your inner battles, not something to be handed over to others. When I was met with a wave of doubts and unsolicited advice, some people questioned my ability to handle the risks, while others subtly hinted that my idea wasn't unique enough to succeed. Their skepticism planted seeds of doubt in my mind. What started as a clear, focused ambition became clouded by uncertainty. Their comments: though well, keeping secrets is not just wise, it's essential. You have fears. We all have fears. Those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep in during moments of weakness. Here's the truth that no one tells you: your fears are your own to conquer. They're a reflection of your inner battles, not something to be handed over to others. When I was weighed down by more than I anticipated, I found myself second-guessing every decision. I worried that they might be right. The pure drive that once fueled my desire was diluted by the fear of failure and the need for external validation. The more I talked about my dream, the less it felt like my own. I began to realize that by sharing my desire, I had allowed others to shape it, turning what should have been. You'll see why keeping these secrets is not just wise, it's essential. Your deepest fears are your own to overcome. They reflect your inner battles and are not something to be handed over to others. Desires are personal. They are a reflection of your deepest needs and aspirations. When you share them, you open yourself up to judgment and manipulation. I've seen it happen when you confide in someone about your aspirations. They might question you and subtly try to steer you toward their vision of success. This isn't yours. This can lead to a situation where you're no longer pursuing your true desires but rather chasing after what you think will please others or meet societal expectations. The lesson was clear: desires should be protected like a treasure. They remain a quiet force driving you forward, unaffected by the opinions and influences of others. By not sharing them, you avoid getting too attached to fulfilling them and protect yourself from the disappointment that comes when desires are thwarted by external circumstances. We are encouraged to share our goals and ambitions in this world. I've learned to take a different path. Now, I let my actions reveal my ambitions, keeping my desires private. This approach protects my dreams and preserves the authenticity of my journey. It allows me to pursue what truly matters to me without the noise of external opinions. 3. Your inner struggles. Inner struggles are a universal part of the human experience. Those quiet battles we fight within ourselves often happen in the dead of night or in moments of solitude. These struggles might include feeling like you're not good enough, being afraid of failing, feeling pressure to meet other people's expectations. But sometimes, talking about these struggles with others can be bad. It can make it harder to overcome them. I used to think that talking about my struggles was a sign of strength. I thought it was a way to connect with others and get support. I would talk to friends about the challenges I was facing. These challenges could be things like stress from work, feeling like I wasn't good enough, feeling pressure to meet certain expectations. While it was a release at the time, I quickly realized that talking about my problems didn't make me feel better. Often, it made me feel more stressed. It was like I had shared my problems with others. I hadn't solved them. I understood that my problems were my own to deal with. By talking about them, I was looking for approval or comfort from others. This made me feel worse. Instead of dealing with my problems directly, I was making them seem more difficult, that I found myself needing others' reassurances, which made me feel even more helpless. Personal struggles are private. Sharing them might make you feel better. It often backfires. When you talk about your personal problems with others, they might start to see you as weak instead of strong. Even people who mean well might start to see you as less strong or capable. Of your relationships, some people might take advantage of you. They might use your problems to get what they want when you're fighting or competing with them. Also, talking about your problems can make you feel better. It doesn't do anything to solve them. It's easy to talk about your problems forever without doing anything to solve them. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from within. From our ability to face our challenges quietly and with dignity. By keeping your struggles to yourself, you can. To yourself. You must keep your mental strength to deal with them directly, without letting outside opinions or sympathy get in the way. Look at the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who faced big personal challenges, including being exiled and political plots against him. Despite the pressure he faced, he kept his personal struggles mostly to himself. Instead, he worked on becoming stronger and wiser on the inside. His ability to overcome these challenges came from facing them alone, not from sharing his struggles with others. I've decided to learn from my mistakes and come out stronger on the other side. I've started to take a more calm approach. Instead of complaining or looking for others' approval, I use my energy to understand and overcome my inner conflicts on my own terms. This doesn't mean I stop communicating with others. It means I understand that some problems are only for me. By keeping my struggles private, I've found a greater sense of control and clarity, allowing me to come out stronger and more self in a world that often thinks being vulnerable is a sign of strength. It can be controversial to suggest that some things are better kept secret. But if you value your inner peace and personal growth, you'll find that facing your struggles in silence is not only empowering, it's essential. Thought to 4, your wealth. Wealth is a complicated subject. It's seen as a sign of success in many cultures. It can also lead to envy, conflict, misunderstanding. The moment you begin to openly talk about your money situation, being wealthy or poor can cause problems that mess with your peace and relationships. There was a time when I thought it was okay to talk about my money successes. I'd casually mention a raise, a profitable investment, A new purchase. Thinking it would inspire others or get people talking. But I quickly learned that talking about money can cause problems you didn't expect. Friends who once celebrated my successes started reacting differently. Some were envious. Others gave condescending advice. A few were resentful. What I thought was innocent sharing caused tension and discomfort. Discussing wealth openly leads to envy and judgment. Even among close friends. Knowing the specifics of someone's financial situation, it can make people feel envious or competitive. People naturally compare themselves to others. Money is a common way to measure success. When you talk about how much money you have, you might make others feel superior or inferior to you, which doesn't lead to good relationships or peace of mind. Also, wealth can make people envious or feel like they have to live up to certain standards. If people know you have money, they might start to see you as a resource, expecting you to pay for dinners, lend money, contribute more than your fair share to group activities. This can cause problems in your relationships and make you feel awkward. On the other hand, if you're struggling financially and share that information, if you have a lot of money, people might start to see you as a resource. They might start expecting you to pay for dinners, lend money, contribute more than your fair share to group activities. This can cause problems in your relationships and make you feel awkward. If you don't have a lot of money and share that information, you might find yourself the subject of pity or unsolicited advice, which can be just as demoralizing. Money is also a sensitive topic because it taps into deeper issues of security and identity. In Stoic philosophy, material wealth is seen as indifferent, neither good nor bad in itself, only as valuable as the use we make of it. The more you discuss your wealth, the more likely you are to tie yourself. You might feel sorry for yourself or get unsolicited advice, which can also be demoralizing. Wealth is a sensitive topic because it deals with feelings of safety and who you are. In Stoic philosophy, material wealth is seen as neutral. It's not inherently good or bad. It's only valuable based on how you use it. The more you talk about your wealth, the more you might start to feel like it defines who you are. If you're proud of your money, talking about it might make you feel like your worth is connected to your bank balance. On the other hand, if you're struggling with money, talking about it might make you feel like you're not good enough and stressed. Look at the example of Marcus Aurelius. He was one of the richest and most powerful men in his time. He wrote about how money doesn't last. Even though he had a lot of money, he thought that inner qualities were more important than outer riches. History teaches us that money can be useful. It's not everything. You can either define us or become the focus of our conversations and relationships. From my personal experience, I've learned to keep my financial situation private. I understand that wealth is a tool, not a topic. By not discussing it openly, I've maintained healthier relationships and avoided the pitfalls of envy, judgment, exploitation. It's allowed me to focus on what truly matters, developing my character, cultivating meaningful connections, finding fulfillment beyond material success. In a society that often equates wealth with worth, choosing not to share your financial status might seem counter. It's a cultural and controversial topic. If you value your peace and the authenticity of your relationships, you'll find that keeping your wealth private is not only wise, it's liberating. Let your financial achievements or struggles be your own. Let your true wealth be measured by the quality of your thoughts, actions, relationships, not the balance of your bank account. Forgive your past failures. We all have failures. Moments when life didn't go according to plan. When we fell short of our own or others' expectations. Society often tells us that sharing our failures is empowering. It's important to be vulnerable and make connections with others. However, some people believe that it's better to keep past failures private. They think that if you share these failures, people will judge you. I used to think that it was good to talk about my past failures. I thought it would make me seem relatable or even admirable. I'd talk about jobs I didn't get, projects that didn't work out, relationships that ended badly. I wanted to show that I could overcome these challenges. I noticed that not everyone reacted well to these stories. Some people didn't have empathy or encouragement. Some people, instead of seeing how strong I've become, focus on the failure itself and subtly change how they see me. Sharing your failures can easily lead to being defined by them. When you talk about a failure, you might think you're showing how far you've come. Others might see only the setback, the mistake, the weakness. They might start to think of you more as a failure than as a success, making your achievement seem less important to them. Even worse, in competitive environments, sharing your past mistakes can be used against you, either as a way to undermine you, your credibility, or to outshine you by comparison. Also, talking about past failures can make you stuck in the past, which makes it harder to move forward. Every time you tell the story of a failure, you're reliving it, which makes you think about it more. This can stop you from fully letting go and learning from the past. Stoicism teaches us to accept the past as unchangeable and to focus on what we can control, our present actions and future intentions. By constantly thinking about your failures, you risk becoming focused on what went wrong rather than on how you can do better now. Sharing your failures can be risky. You might hope for understanding or encouragement. Others might pity you, while their intentions might be well-meaning. Their sympathy can feel patronizing. Feeling pitied for your past mistakes can hurt your self-esteem. It can make you feel less capable than you are. It can also make others see you as someone who needs to be taken care of, not as the strong person you've become. Think about Epictetus, a philosopher who lived through slavery and hardship. He rarely spoke of his suffering. Instead of thinking about his past, he focused on the wisdom he gained from them and how they shaped his present and future. He understood that his value wasn't tied to what he had endured, to how he responded to it. His silence on his past failures wasn't about hiding them, about refusing to let them define him. From my own experience, I've learned that keeping my past failures private has allowed me to move forward more freely. Instead of dwelling on my past misfortunes, I focus on the wisdom I gained from them and how they shaped my present and future. Instead of letting people judge me based on my past failures, I've chosen to learn from them and apply those lessons in my life. This approach has not only kept my dignity but also helped me rebuild my confidence without worrying about what other people think. In a world that often glorifies sharing every aspect of our lives, choosing to keep your past private can be difficult. It might seem strange to keep your past failures to yourself. If you value your growth and want to be defined by your current actions and future potential rather than your past mistakes, you'll find that silence is powerful. Let your past failures be your own, transforming them into personal wisdom that guides you forward without the need for public validation or sympathy. Your political beliefs are personal. They are often based on our childhood, what we've experienced, our values. In today's divided world, where every opinion is questioned and debated, sharing your political beliefs can lead to conflict, feeling disconnected, even a loss of personal peace. A Stoic approach would say that your political beliefs, like many other deeply held beliefs, are best kept private. There was a time when I thought that talking about politics openly was a way to have meaningful conversations and make positive changes. I would take part in debates, share my views on social media, try to convince others of my perspective. I quickly learned that these conversations often ended up in arguments, damaging relationships and creating tension rather than understanding each other. Friends who once some people saw me as a kindred spirit. Then they started to distance themselves. Even people I barely knew felt entitled to challenge my beliefs. Sometimes in an aggressive way. The problem with sharing your political beliefs is that it often invites conflict, not resolution. Politics is inherently divisive, touching on core values that people hold dear. When you express your political views, you're not just sharing an opinion. You're revealing a part of your identity might be something that others strongly disagree with. This can lead to heated debates, strained relationships, even permanent rifts. People may begin to define you by your political stance rather than by your character, reducing the complexity of who you are to a single aspect of your beliefs. Moreover, openly discussing politics can lead to a loss of personal peace. Engaging in political debates, especially in today's it can be exhausting to be in an argumentative environment. You have to defend your position. You might encounter hostility. This can take a toll on your well-being. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our actions, thoughts, emotions. By keeping your political beliefs private, you protect yourself from the turmoil that often accompanies political discourse. This allows you to maintain your inner calm and focus on personal growth. Another risk of sharing your political beliefs is the potential for judgment and exclusion. In many social and professional settings, politics can be a minefield. Expressing your views can lead to being stereotyped or pigeonholed, with others making assumptions about your character, intelligence, intentions based solely on your political stance. This can limit opportunities, strain professional relationships. Even if you don't speak up, people might think badly of you. This could be true, especially if you're in a place where most people don't agree with you. Even with your close friends or family, you might have problems if you don't agree on politics. People you thought were friends might not get along because of their political views. If you don't talk about your politics, you won't have these problems. You can focus on things you have in common with other people, like shared experiences or interests. Look at the example of Marcus Aurelius. He was an emperor in ancient Rome. He was a philosopher. He had to deal with difficult politics. He did well, despite his immense power and political responsibilities. Marcus focused on universal principles like justice, wisdom, duty. He didn't get caught up in the partisan conflicts of his time. His meditations reveal a man more concerned with personal virtue and inner peace than with the political battles raging around him. He understood that true influence comes not from public declarations, from the quiet strength of living according to one's principles. Through my own experiences, I've learned the value of keeping my political beliefs are personal. Instead of arguing about politics, I focus on living by my values and making a positive impact. This doesn't mean I don't care about politics. It means I choose to direct my energy toward actions that align with my beliefs. In a world where politics can feel inescapable, choosing to keep your political beliefs to yourself might seem controversial, even counterproductive, cultural. If you value your peace, relationships, personal growth, you'll find that silence can be a powerful tool. Let your actions reflect your values. Let your political beliefs remain a private compass guiding you through the complexities of life, rather than a public banner inviting conflict and judgment. Your future plans. Future plans are often the blueprints of our aspirations, hopes, dreams, goals laid out for the path ahead. It can be tempting to share these plans with others. Whether to seek encouragement, advice, simply to express excitement, however. Revealing your future plans can be more detrimental than beneficial. A Stoic perspective suggests that keeping your plans private allows you to. You can stay in control, focused, free from outside expectations or interference. I used to love sharing my future plans with friends, family, colleagues. I'd talk about my intentions with enthusiasm, expecting support and positive reinforcement. But over time, I noticed something unsettling. The more I shared, the more I felt pressured to meet other people's expectations. The more I shared, the more I felt pressured by other people's expectations. If I changed my mind or encountered setbacks, the disappointment or criticism from those I had confided in added unnecessary weight to the challenges I was already facing. Sharing your future plans can create an environment of external pressure. Once you've told others about your goals, you might feel compelled to achieve them, not just for yourself, to meet the expectations you've set in their minds. This can lead to a sense of obligation where your plans become less about what you truly want and more about avoiding embarrassment or judgment from failing to follow through. The excitement of pursuing your dreams can be dampened by the anxiety of living up to what you've publicly committed to. Through personal experience, I've learned the importance of maintaining control, focus, freedom without the burden of external expectations or interference. The power of silence when it comes to future plans. Now, instead of sharing my goals with everyone, I focus on quietly working toward them. I've found that this approach not only preserves my motivation, also allows me the freedom to change direction without the burden of external expectations. If a plan doesn't work out, I can adapt and move on without the added pressure of explaining myself to others. In a culture that often values transparency and openness, choosing to keep your future plans private might seem counterintuitive, even controversial. But if you value your autonomy, focus, peace of mind, you'll find that there's immense strength in silence. Let your actions speak for themselves and allow your plans to unfold quietly, free from the scrutiny and influence of others. Your future is yours to shape. Keep it. I noticed that the more I shared, the more I had to guard my plans until they became reality. In a world that pushes us to share everything, embracing silence can be a powerful choice. Keeping certain aspects of your life private, such as your fears, desires, struggles, wealth, failures, political beliefs, future plans, protects your peace and preserves your autonomy. Silence isn't about withdrawing or isolating, it's about maintaining control. Stay in control, focused, free. Don't let other people's expectations or interference get in the way. I used to love talking about my future plans with friends, family, colleagues. Whether it was a new job, a personal project, travel plans, I'd talk about my goals with excitement, hoping for support and positive feedback. Over time, I noticed something strange. The more I shared, the less true to myself I felt. By choosing what to share and what to keep private, you take back control. You can avoid the distractions and pressures that come with being in the public eye. This quiet confidence allows you to live your life as you truly are, without worrying about other people's opinions or expectations. Embrace the power of silence and let it guide you as you navigate life on your own terms.